today, and I have my apron on, so you know if I have my apron on, I'm probably gonna make a mess. It's baking time. So I'm going to make for you a focaccia bread, which it is an Italian table bread. It's super, super simple. The only thing you have to do is wait for about an hour and a half, 2 hours to let it ferment or rise, which if you see behind me, I went and did a batch. So it's kind of fermenting. I have it over the oven just a little bit. The oven is on, so I have it on the stove so that it can kind of heat up, because you want it at a certain temperature to let it rise. Okay, so the controversy is a lot of times US metric system, when you are baking, you're using cups. I don't like to use cups. I learned in school, and you guys can debate with me if you want to. I'm still gonna stick to what I'm doing because we tried the experiment at school. So Europeans use grams. We tried to do like 2 cups of this, 2 cups of that. We all came out with different measurements, even when you're leveling it off. So I tend to want to go by grams, and you can go to the store, get a cheap little scale, and it has on there ounces, grams, pounds. So that's super, easy. So with focaccia bread, there's the mandatory ingredients, super simple. It's just gonna be flour. You can use bread flour or 00 flour, the double O flour, which is Italian flour, or you can use all-purpose flour. I have them all. I have red flour, the 00 flour, and I also have all-purpose flour. I tend to like to use unbleached. I don't like bleached flour because it's bleach in the flour. This one I do have is the all-purpose flour. So you're gonna need some flour. So the grams are 750. That's about 3 cups. If you want to go that way, you're gonna need some tap water, or at least let it be warm. It can't be too hot. Heat will kill the yeast, and that's what you don't want. So you want to have that, and you want to have that's about 450 grams of water. It's probably like a little warm, almost room temperature, but you don't want it cold either. And then about 20 grams of salt. So with the salt, you want either kosher salt or the flaky salt. Or they have fleur de sel, which is a little bit more pricey, kind of hard to find, or Maldon salt, which is gonna be coarse like rocks. So this is, I have some sea salt and it's coarse. You can use that. I say use it, but you don't, if you use regular salt, you wanna cut the ingredients by half. So a trick for me, because I'm always making a mess baking, especially when it comes to flour because it gets everywhere, is that I use some saran wrap, and I kind of line the bowl and then dump it in there, and it does make it a little bit easier for me to transport. So, and you need about 5 to 7 grams. So some recipes say 5 grams, some say 7. I tend to go with 5 grams of instant yeast. So active yeast, you will have to let it ferment or rise. It takes 8 hours. Instant yeast, it takes about 1.5 hours, 2 hours. So I tend to want to use instant yeast, and let's get this going. So I'm gonna just take it and I'm gonna stick it in. Now I'm still probably gonna make a mess, but it's not as bad when I'm transporting. And less mess, but there we go. So you want to have your salt, and I'll just dump this in here really quick. Like I said, you want to have instant. I prefer instant. This is what it comes in little packets, or they come in a container. You just have to find it in your grocery store. And so I'll pour this in here. And your water. Alright. So I love KitchenAid. There are other brands. KitchenAid is, most commercial kitchens use it. I love it. They're good quality. They tend to last a long, long time in your kitchen. Me, it probably won't last as long because I use it more than you would in your kitchen. But, here we go. So this is the hook for dough. So you would, if you get KitchenAid, you'll get different attachments. You'll get the whiz, you'll get the paddle. You want to use the hook, the dough hook. So I'm going to attach this. Always start off slow, please, because the flour will still get everywhere. Just start off slow. Let it start mixing, and then you can gradually let it go up. Not too fast. I wouldn't take it any more than like a medium, or if it has numbers, like my KitchenAid has numbers, I wouldn't take it more than 6. But right now it's at, starting out at 2. So I see the flour still kind of moving around. So I don't want to go too high or it's gonna like, see it's like puffing everywhere. You want to do this for about 5 minutes and just let it form a ball. And it's gonna kind of gather up. So, with this, you also want to have a very good extra virgin olive oil. I went ahead and, you know, just put a liberal amount into your pan and kind of, you know, rub the sides down. And then later you're going to brush some on. So what I did was, when I finished with the dough and it balls up like it's starting to ball up, what I did was, I went ahead, I don't want it to go too fast, this flour is still down at the bottom, so I'll just leave it there. So once you get the ball, then you want to go ahead and put some oil in your bowl. And it's pretty much done. You want to go ahead and put oil in your bowl. I don't know if you can see the oil is there. And it's pretty much doubling, it's doubled in size. But I'm gonna let that keep fermenting for a minute. And you want to kind of dust your counter. Make sure you clean your counter, please. Clean it, because you know, I don't want little stuff in your bread. But just clean it, and you can dust it really quick so you don't have it sticking. And all you're gonna do is form it into a ball, just round, and you're going to place it in there, cover with some saran wrap or cling wrap, cling wrap. Or you can put a damp towel over it and just let it sit. It can sit room temperature. I was kind of like trying to speed it up because we're gonna go right into making the bread. So I will be back in just a second. I just want to get it set up and I'll show you how we're gonna make the focaccia bread. Okay guys, so I'm back just for a moment. This has doubled in size. As you can see, it is definitely time to get it out because it's gonna keep growing and I don't want it to overtake me. I do have some little cherry tomatoes, different colors, and I have some Kalamata olives that I'm just gonna cut up in half, and I'm just using a regular knife. I'm not trying to be all chefy today. Just cutting them in half, just so I can decorate the bread a little bit. Uh-oh. Okay. And I'm gonna place it on top, mix it with the olives and the tomatoes, and just try to make it a little bit more presentable and pretty. So I'm gonna cut these up, and when you come back, you'll see me trying to assemble everything without trying to make a mess with the dough. Okay, I've cut up the tomatoes and the olives. So now this is where it gets messy for me. Hopefully it's gonna cooperate. So I'm gonna transfer it from the bowl to the pan. You have to poke holes in it. You don't really have to, but because it's more cosmetic, but Italians really like to poke holes in it, and that's what kind of gets you to identify that it is focaccia bread. So I'm gonna go ahead, and it's sliding out. And that's the whole reason for the olive oil, is that you don't want it to stick, but you do want to you want to spread it out, and it's flattening out as you mess with it, manipulate it. It's gonna flatten out, so don't worry about that. It'll spread out. So now I'm going to poke some holes in it, and you want them kind of deep, but not all the way to the bottom. So, you know, I usually just try to, just like that. I won't even speak on how this feels, but just poke the holes. And I'm gonna go ahead and start placing in the olives and the tomatoes. I'm gonna also have to rinse my hands off because I gotta get to the olive oil all over and spread it. And it doesn't have, you don't have to do this, you can do it plain. I also have some rosemary that I'm gonna sprinkle in between. But it's just, you know, try to make it pretty. I'm not that artsy. You can make flowers with the tomatoes and the olives and asparagus or chives, or, you know, it's all kind of ways that you can make it look nice. I'm just gonna kind of strategically put them all over. I do the tomatoes first because they're a lot bigger than the olives. And then I'll put the olives in between the tomatoes. There we go. So, once again, I appreciate everybody's text messages, emails. I hope you're liking what I am making for you. If you have any requests, please feel free to send me the requests. I have gotten a few, so I am going to be doing them. And please like and subscribe to me. So we are basically done. Let me get a quick wash and I'll be right back. Okay guys, I did a quick wash of my hands. So I'm going to sprinkle some coarse salt on it. I just want to see how much is going to come out. So just going to sprinkle the coarse salt over it. And it's just not coming out like I want it. Okay. And I'm going to do a little bit of rosemary. Just kind of all over. Rosemary is kind of strong. So you may only want to put a little bit, but it's very fragrant. Love the way it smells. And now we're gonna put some more olive oil on it. And don't be shy with the olive oil. It flavors it and it keeps it from sticking. So that's pretty good. I'm gonna put it in the oven at 400 degrees for about 40 to 50 minutes. It depends on your oven. Sometimes, you know, it's right at 40, sometimes not. So we're gonna do it and I will see you back when it's done. Okay, I'm back and the bread is ready. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull it out so you can see it. And I am going to try to cut it open while it's hot. Ooh, and there you have it. Focaccia bread. Has some rosemary, some tomatoes, and 2 different kinds of Kalamata olives. So, it has a lot of sauce. See the salt flakes on there. So also what I have with it is some balsamic and oil. So I have some dark balsamic, as you can tell. I have the white or clear balsamic. And I also have olive oil for, all of these are for dipping. You can also do like pesto sauce, or you can do like a tomato. You can even put meat on here. You can have like, I call them like breadsticks. So you can put pepperoni on here and just make it a complete meal. Let's see how it looks. I am going to get a serrated bread knife, and I am gonna cut into this bad boy. So let's see how it looks. And it's extremely hot, so please be careful. Oh God, the steam is coming off. I hope you can try this kind of recipe. It's really, really good. Okay, I've cut it open. Please let it rest for like 5, 10, 20 minutes so that you're not burning your hands. Kind of like what I'm doing. You don't want to do that. Ooh. Oh my gosh. As you can see, I know you see the steam coming off of it, but that's how it looks. And it's nice and spongy. And what it is it's crispy on the top, but it's really tender and soft on the inside. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and bon appetit. See you next week.